Do you ever find yourself feeling frustrated in certain relationships? It could be a friend that doesn't text you back. It could be a coworker that just you feel isn't pulling their fair share of the weight. Or it could just be somebody really close to you in your life where you just wish they would make better decisions. Today I'm going to share with you how my life completely changed once I started adopting Mel Robbins' let them mindset. Claim this term, the let them mindset, as a way to just really help you relieve any frustrations and actually tap into your inner peace, because the truth of the matter is you have zero control over what another individual decides to do, either with their life or how they show up in their life. The only thing you have control of is how you choose to respond. And oftentimes what tends to happen when we're trying to for lack of a better word, control the outcome, right? Like in those frustrating moments you find yourself in, like, let's say it's a friend that hasn't texted you back, or a coworker that's just not showing up the way you need them to. We can tend to build up some resentments and some frustrations. And the truth of the matter is these things happen because there's a part of us that is trying to control how we need the other person to show up. And so when I really tapped into this let them mindset, which, I mean, some people might feel, and like, don't panic. You might even have this thought of like, wait, what? I'm just going to let people walk all over me. I'm just going to, like, it sounds like you're giving up. The truth of the matter is all you're simply doing is you're choosing how you're going to respond next. And truth be told, when our emotions are super hijacked by what is happening, we're not actually going to show up from a place of compassion and kindness. And if you're frustrated, for sure, your message won't be received proper, or you might not deliver it as well. And what that tends to create is more tension and conflict. So instead, the let them is not a way for you to just let people walk all over you. What it actually is a way for you to tap into how you're going to choose to respond. So this can look like, what boundaries do you need to set, right? And so for me, my life completely changed in this, using this approach of the let them mindset, because I don't have control over how somebody else chooses to show up in their life, right? And I really just wanted to share this with you, because how often in your life do you feel like you're trying to maneuver, or you want a certain situation to improve, or you would like it to look more like this? And I feel like when we start to really see this pattern, I mean, you'll see it across the board in many different ways. All you're trying to do is just manipulate how things are supposed to be, that you need them to be in order for you to feel safe, when actually safety gets created from within first. And so this let them mindset, you know, if they don't want to text you back, let them. If you had plans with somebody and they bailed on you, let them. If somebody decides to disagree with you, let them. Like, it can be applied in so many different contexts in your life. And it just really helps you see that we're all different individuals, all doing the best we can with the tools we have available at that moment. And for myself, when I would get frustrated or start to harbor resentments, it would kind of tarnish how that person, you know, how I would allow them to show up in my life. Actually, I had a mentor once tell me, like, once you start knowing someone, once you say, I already know how they're going to respond, you've actually capped their growth. And that's not a cool place to see other people. And so you might have a preconceived notion of how you think somebody will show up based on past experiences. However, we can change at any given moment. And so the let them mindset really just lets you tap into your inner peace. You get to decide, like, is this moment worth disturbing my inner peace, right? And sometimes I know it would feel so good to just really say something to the other person. However, in the heat of the moment, right, when emotions are high, our intelligent response is not going to be very well received. And when you tap into the let them, you actually have a moment of a breath, a space. And you get to tap into, what is it about this situation right now that I feel I need to control? And it always comes down to some kind of subconscious feeling of wanting to feel safe. This kind of mindset actually helps you see that everybody is going to show up the way they need to. And in this perspective shift, it actually becomes very empowering. You get to see people for how they're showing you they are showing up, and you get to see yourself for how you're choosing to show up. So it gets to be like a letting go of. This is not, again, not to say that you wouldn't set boundaries if you feel like somebody's walking all over you, if you feel like, somebody's trying to take the credit for all of the things that you're doing. Like, whatever the example is in your current situation, just really sitting with it and determining how you're going to show up in that energy, what needs to be said, what doesn't. I honestly believe that a lot of conversations don't necessarily need to happen. All we require is to tap into our own personal power. And I will never defend myself. It's always going to be in the energy of how I'm going to represent myself. And so my clear boundaries are, if you start raising your voice and yelling at me or whatever the case, I will let you, but I will also walk away, right? And so it's really this empowering decision piece that you tap into, both for yourself and for somebody else, that we tend to, as humans, personalize everything, right? Somebody doesn't text you back. What do you tend to go? Like, what's your thought process, right? It's all a habit loop. So if you are a type of person where you're like, oh, something must have came up, or they must have been busy, or I hope that they're okay, that's a different energy versus, why aren't they texting me back? I know that they have their phone. Why aren't they getting back to me, right? And then you start to create these stories that are not always necessarily true. When you tap into realizing that not everything is personal, you get to just free yourself, and you also free the other person. I always try to show up as much as humanly possible in a way where the future version of me will be proud. Now, again, it is hard to be a human sometimes. And this is why I find that this Let Them mindset by Mel Robbins has just really radically brought me a sense of radical responsibility and brutal self-honesty to be like, okay, what about this situation is really upsetting me, and what do I decide to do next, right? And from this perspective, I can just choose to let them, because I have no control over what somebody else chooses to do with their life and their energy and all the things. All I have control over is what I then choose to do. So what I found that has helped tremendously is I feel a lot more calm in a lot of my relationships. I have some relationships, like you might as well, that can tend to be a little bit more challenging. And when I tap into this Let Them mindset, I really just get to tap into, what is it about me trying to control that person, right? Because when you see it like that, it just opens your eyes. It's like you're trying to just maneuver how you want things to be for you, but then that just discredits them as a human, and it discredits their experience. And so it's given me a lot more freedom. It's also brought me a lot more compassion and like compassionate curiosity, because then I get to try to understand why somebody would, like, why they're choosing to respond this way, or why they're choosing to act in this manner. And then I get to decide what comes next. And so for me, it's just brought me a lot of clarity. It's brought me a lot of peace and inner calm. It's brought me, like, my relationships seem more fulfilling, I would even tend to say, because I'm not trying to, like, have a say in everything and what everybody does. I will always ask, based on this Let Them mindset, I've found myself asking permission if somebody else is open to hearing a different perspective. And that has been a huge component as well. So with the Let Them, let's say that there's a conflict that happens, and I can let them be in the state that they're in, and I get to choose if I'm going to, if I feel like it's necessary, like if I feel like I need to add my input, instead of just throwing like fuel on the fire, I will ask, like, are you open to a different perspective? And then this way, if they say yes or no, either way, the energy I get to choose to put in matters. And so if they say no, then cool. I'm not going to have wasted energy. And if they say yes, cool, I'll get to bring something different to the table. And from there, we can have more messy conversations. And this is where growth can happen. But I find it's been very helpful using this let them mindset in regards to just improving my overall relationships. And like, not to mention my own personal growth. And so even just one last thing that I'll add to this video is when you're tapping into actually allowing people to live the full experience of who it is they choose to be, you also get to tap into your energy and live the full experience of who you choose to be. And so the way that I also use the let them mindset is let them witness. And that simply means that I can go about choosing the energy that I'm going to show up in. You know, there's a big difference between reacting or what is the word? Respond. There's a big difference between choosing to react or choosing to respond. And so in the let them witness, what I'm choosing to do is live my full experience the way I choose to, without making their experience wrong. And perhaps they will see something different through me. And so as I've been doing this personal development growth for well over a decade, I know that at the beginning of my journey, there tends to be, and I've noticed with a lot of the clients I've worked with and just, you know, speaking with different mentors, there tends to be this growth phase where we can fall into feeling like we know better and we know how another person needs to be. And so that's kind of a little bit of self-righteousness. And so what I found by doing this journey and really tapping into the let them mindset is, instead of forcefully shoving down somebody else's throat how you think they need to be or how you want them to show up and things like this, letting them witness is actually you becoming that person. And so you're calm, you're more calm, you show up with more kindness, no judgment, right? The let them mindset is another way to actually, you stop judging and instead you just let them, because you're not attached energetically to it. And so I just feel like once I really understood that concept, a lot of things in my life radically shifted. And I just really excited to share this video with you. If you yourself have practiced this let them mindset, if you've heard about it from Mel Robbins, or maybe this is the first time you're hearing about it, just let me know in the comments if anything shifted with you, or if you've been in the practice of it, how it's been working out for you. And maybe try, if you're open to it, tapping into the let them witness as well. Like, I feel like let them witness has just really allowed me to be myself and then let other people see for themselves, right? How to show up if they choose to, and all the while I'm just doing my work. So let me know in the comments. And if you liked this video, could you please share it out to somebody else that would probably need to hear this message? Make sure you're subscribed and you've hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any other content. And let's take this in the comments. Let me know how this is landing for you. And let's continue this conversation. As always, be brave, be bold, be you.